Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2. Praise by the demigods to Lord Krishna in the womb of Mother Devaki. Text number 32. Ye Anye Aravindaksha Vimukta Maninaha Yenye Aravindaksha Vimukta Maninaha Yenye Aravindaksha Vimukta Maninaha. The Sandhi, that Aravindaksha will become Ravindaksha. Otherwise, you can't chant properly. This chanting has to be done according to Chandas. And Chandas means you have to follow the rules for the combination of the letters. If you say Aravindaksha, the number of letters becomes one more than Ravindaksha. Okay? So if the number of letters becomes more, then it will not fit the Chandas. Chandas means fixed number of letters in every line. Then only we can chant properly. If the number of letters are not fixed, it will become like prose. Poetry means fixed number of letters. And those fixed number of letters, you can uniformly chant every line. It will be nice to hear. It is pleasing to hear. Poetry means song. Poetry means rhyme. Poetry means very pleasing to hear, more than prose. So therefore, while we chant Anye, we don't chant Anye. In the combination, we says Yenye, Yenye, Vayiyan, Vayi. That's all. What is written there? That A is not written. One apostrophe is there to indicate actually it is Anye, but A is silent when you combine. That's called Sandhi. Sandhi. Combination is called Sandhi. The combination of the letters. So what happens? Ye and Anye, two words, when you combine them in the form of this particular verse, Yenye, Yenye. All of you say Yenye. Not Ye Anye. When you combine, Yenye. You understand? Y-E-N. How do you pronounce Y-E-N? Yen. But it is not yen, it is yen. A is a long syllable, not a short syllable. A, E. A is a short syllable. A is a long syllable. So, U, very easy. But next is Ru. After that, what is after that? A. A is not A. It is A, long syllable. After A comes I. In Kannada, there is A. In Sanskrit, no two, only long one. What is the long one? A. I. I is also a long syllable. O. It's a long syllable, not O. O. Au. It's a long syllable. Okay? So this long syllable, yenye. Yenye. Then Aravindaksha. See, when you combine yenye and Aravindaksha, what happens? A becomes silent. So it is yenye Ravindaksha. See, you have to say Ravindaksha, not Aravindaksha. It's funny, no? Ravindaksha. But in the combination, that's the way you can pronounce. You cannot pronounce Aravindaksha. So now hear me carefully. Yen ye Ravindaksha vimuktamaninaha Vayastabhavad Avishuddha Buddhayaha Tvayastabhavadavishuddha Aruhya Krichrena Param Padam Tataha Aruhya Krichrena Param Padam Tataha Patanti Adho Patantyadho Anadruta Patantyadho Nadruta. Patantyadho Anadruta is not the combination. Combination is Patantyadho Nadruta Yushmad Anghrayaha Patantyadho Nadruta Yushmad Anghrayaha Yenye Ravindaksha Vimuktamaninaha Vayastabhavada Vishuddha Buddhayaha Aruhya Krichrena Param Padam Tataha Patantyadho Nadruta Yushmadangrayaha Yenye Ravindaksha Vimuktamaninaha Vayastabhavada Vishuddha Buddhayaha Aruhya Krichrena Param Padam Tataha Patantyadho Nadruta Yushmadangrayaha Yenye Ravindaksha Vimuktamaninaha Vayastabhavada Vishuddha Buddhayaha Aruhya Krichrena Param Padam Tataha Patantyadho Nadruta Yushmadanghrayaha Yenye Arvindaksha Vimuktamaninaha Vayastabhavada Vishuddha Buddhayaha Aruhya Krichrena Param Padam Tataha Patantyadho Nadruta Yushmadanghrayaha Ye Anye. Here it is split. Ye Anye. Anyone or all others. Aravinda Aksha. Here it is split. Aksha. But in the combination, Arvindaksha. Daksha. Not the Aksha. No. Combination is Arvindaksha. But here Prabhupada splits it in the word for meaning. Aravinda Aksha. O lotus-eyed one. Vimukta Maninaha. See, Vimukta Maninaha. Maninaha in the combination becomes Maninas Tvayasta Bhavat. But we don't chant combination. Maninaha and Tvayi, we don't chant combination. Because we break at that. Therefore, if we break, we have to say Maninaha. If we don't break, Maninas Tvayi. Maninas Tvayi. You wonder why S is written and I am chanting Maninaha. That is because in the combination it is Maninas Tvayi. But split it is Maninaha Tvayi. So Maninaha. What is that? Oh, sorry. It is Vimukta Maninaha. Falsely considering themselves free from the bondage of material contamination. Tvayi, unto you, astabhavat, speculating in various ways, but not knowing or desiring more information of your lotus feet, avishuddha buddhayaha, whose intelligence is still not purified and do not know the goal of life, aruhya, even though achieving krichrena, by undergoing severe austerities, penances, and hard labor, param padam, the highest position, according to their imagination and speculation. Tataha, from that position, patanti, they fall, adhaha, down into material existence again, anadrita, neglecting devotion to, yushmat, your, anghrayaha, lotus feet. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Someone may say that aside from devotees who always seek shelter at the Lord's lotus feet, there are those who are not devotees, but who have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. Salvation means liberation. What happens to them? In answer to this question, Lord Brahma and the other demigods said, all this is not there in the verse. Prabhupada very mercifully is explaining the background for this verse. Now the translation begins. O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet. So please repeat what Prabhupada's background is for this verse as well as the translation, actual translation. Someone may say that aside from devotees who always seek shelter at the Lord's lotus feet, there are those who are not devotees, but who have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. What happens to them? In answer to this question, Lord Brahma and the other demigods said, what did they say? What they said is in this verse. O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated. Their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It's a very long purport. I think the purport we'll discuss in the next class. I will just proceed with just explaining the verse itself. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim Yatkripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Yatkripatamaham vande Paramananda Madhavam Yatkripatamaham vande Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So the background for this verse is given in the beginning of the translation by Srila Prabhupada. Because the previous verse so much has been talked about devotees. Beginning from the 29th verse, 29th, 30th, 31st, all three verses talk about devotees. Now, apart from devotees, there are others also who aim for liberation. Devotees, of course, their only goal is not just liberation, but ultimate liberation from material existence itself. But there are others who also want liberation, but they don't have a proper understanding of their constitutional position. So because of that, the very process they adopt itself is not going to give them the ultimate liberation. Ultimate liberation is fixed up at the lotus feet of Krishna in our constitutional position as his loving servitor, loving servant, loving devotee. But these other kinds of people, other than devotees, they think there are different processes for liberation described in the scriptures. And those processes also describe something which is not the process of devotional service. So if they describe something which is not devotional service, then they are not devotees. By following that process, they don't become devotees. So what about them? They practice and they also try to achieve liberation. But by the other processes, do they get liberation? The answer is no. So The background for this verse, Prabhupada says, someone may say, because so far only devotees have been talked about, 3 verses. Very easily devotees get liberation. Very easily devotees go back to Godhead. Very easily devotees are able to disentangle themselves from this material world. Why are you telling very easily, very easily, very easily? That because for others, it is not easy, it is difficult. Which means that other than the process of devotional service, all other processes are very difficult. Devotional service is the only easy process. Which is very obvious. Like, what do we do from morning to evening in terms of practicing spiritual life? Most of the activities we do don't seem to be something really which is like a spiritual practice. We accept prasadam, and it is a very, very, very important spiritual practice for us. Any other process has got a spiritual practice which involves eating? No other process. Neither in karma yoga, nor in jnana yoga, nor in ashtanga yoga, nor any other yoga system other than bhakti yoga is eating a spiritual activity. Eating is not a spiritual activity. In fact, in Hatha Yoga, what do they try to do? They try to cut down eating. Dhruva Maharaj's example. He cut down eating and brought it to almost, not almost, he made it 0, eating 0. So, in other processes, eating is not a spiritual activity. Have you ever thought about this? That's why when we say, prasada tagoli, sulpa kudi, give very little. Because they don't know eating is a spiritual activity. And they're struggling to cut down eating because they're addicted to eating so many things which they're not supposed to eat in terms of health. So on the other hand, devotees, we encourage you take prasadam. Not only encourage, you say only take prasadam. Don't eat anything else. So others cannot understand why these devotees say take prasadam, take prasadam, take prasadam. Similarly, in devotional service, singing and dancing is spiritual activity. Is there any other process where singing and dancing is spiritual activity? Karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, any other process? Even Buddhist process, even what is that? Jewish process. Nobody has singing and dancing as spiritual. They don't have dancing, first of all. Nobody has dancing. Okay? Very clearly, nobody has dancing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was singing and dancing, singing and dancing, singing and dancing, and telling everybody, sing, you also dance. They used to think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a ordinary people, used to think he's a madman. Pagal. So, in our process, it is not only a spiritual process, but it is the spiritual process. The most important spiritual process. Sevon mukhehi jighvadav. Simply by beginning devotional service with the tongue, and tongue has got 2 functions, vibrating to produce sound. So vibrate the tongue and chant and sing Hare Krishna, the Lord's holy name, the glorification of the Lord. And the tongue also has got the function of tasting. So taste Krishna Prasadam every day, 3 times a day, whatever number of times you take food normally. Those many number of times, taste, 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 taste. Say Annamrita Pav, Radha Krishna Gunagav. Other place they say Annamrita Khao. You honor, you eat. Radha Krishna Gunagav. You glorify Radha and Krishna every time you take one morsel of prasadam, because they have so mercifully given us this nice, tasty prasadam. Relish the taste of prasadam. Relish the taste of prasadam. So this relishing the taste of prasadam is a spiritual activity. It is not a material activity. Therefore, the prayer, Krishna bada dayamai karibare jikva jai swaprasad anna dilo bhai. Prasad anna. Mercy is coming in the form of anna. Anna means in general something that is eatable in this context. So prasad anna, mercifully or merciful form of anna, of eatable, edible. Say annamrita khao or pav. You get it, what do you do with it? You eat it. Of course, you can distribute also, you can share also. But in the sense of you either eat yourself or you distribute, means others also you want them to eat. You want them to eat. Honor. So the tongue is employed in the beginning and it continues. It doesn't stop. Not just in the beginning you have to do that. The Goswamis of Vrindavan, 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, ideal devotees to teach us. Krishnot Kirtana Ganana Nartana Parau. They were singing and dancing Krishna Kirtana. And they're doing it in the ecstasy, Prema Mritambho Nidhi. And Nidrahara Viharakadi Vijito Chatyanta Dino Chayo. Ahara, they conquered their tongue, propensity to eat, the tongue's propensity to eat, by regularly eating only prasadam. Regularly taking prasadam. And that prasadam, they used to take in such a way that they relish it. Relish it. In fact, just to teach us that you should relish prasadam, Raghunath Das Goswami, he was at different times taking prasadam at different places in Jagannath Puri. So one time he was taking prasadam from the place where the used earthen pots of prasadam, after they cook in the pot in Jagannath Puri, they distribute in the pot itself. So that pot prasadam is distributed. What will people do? They will take from the pot and then discard that pot naturally. Is supposed to discard. So Raghunath Das Goswami will go and take that discarded pot of prasadam and scrap out whatever is sticking to the pot. And that he will eat with great relish. And how relishable it was, that one day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited Raghunath Das Goswami and he had just finished prasadam. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, You are eating alone? So relishable prasadam, you are not sharing it with me? No, no, my lord, that is not suitable for you. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forced and took and said, this is Jagannath's mercy, remnants. And that's a fact. What did Madhavendra Puri do when that Pujari went and delivered to him one pot of Shira, condensed milk? Condensed milk is so relishable. Okay? So, Madhavendra Puri relished taking that condensed milk. And then after that, that earthen pot, after that, what you generally do? You discard it. He didn't discard it. He broke into two pieces, tied it in his that upper garment into that, and carried it with him. And what would he do by carrying that? What is he carrying it for? Every day he'll eat little of that earthen pot itself. Why? Because it is the most relishable prasadam. Most relishable prasadam. So, we are meant to relish prasadam, not merely abstain from eating bhoga, because bhoga is full of contamination and prasadam is pure, is free from all karma, free from all contamination, material contamination. So we take prasadam. Yeah, that's fact. We don't want to eat contaminated food. We want to eat pure food. So therefore we take prasadam, yes. But also we just don't merely take pure food. We also relish that pure prasadam. But relishing is a very, very, very important aspect of honoring prasadam. If somebody does not relish prasadam, then they are committing offense against prasadam. They're committing offense against prasadam. Therefore, you see, sometimes devotees leave Krishna consciousness and go away. So there are so many different reasons why somebody may leave Krishna consciousness. Could be many different reasons. But one reason also could be that they are always criticizing prasadam. They're always criticizing prasadam. So by criticizing, what are they doing? They are offending. A beginner devotee may commit offenses, but if it is accidental, without his knowledge, inadvertently it has happened, Krishna will definitely pardon. Guru will pardon. But he doesn't take care to avoid offenses. And not only he doesn't take care to avoid offenses, but he also keeps on offending. So then he cannot remain in devotional service. Krishna will not allow him to stay in devotional service. He has to leave the association of devotees and go away. He has to leave and go. He cannot stay. Even if devotees want to keep him, even if spiritual master wants to keep him, Krishna will not allow. No, Krishna will not allow. Krishna is very, 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 very strict. Krishna is very merciful, but is also simultaneously very strict. Don't forget this. Krishna is very merciful, he is also very strict simultaneously. So, my point is that to teach us, never criticize prasadam, Raghunath Das Goswami was relishing that discarded pot, the scrapped remnants of food. So you may say scrapped remnants are still grain only. That's not difficult to eat, correct? But what was Madhavendra Puri doing? The pot itself he was accepting as prasadam. The pot itself. Who is the pot prasadam? Because that sweet rice was offered to Krishna in the pot. And Krishna had stolen that pot for the sake of Madhavendra Puri to get that prasad. So Krishna has stolen that pot. So when Krishna has touched, what happens to that pot? It doesn't remain a material pot. It comes of the same category as spirit. So it is also spiritual. And it is also of the quality of spirit. So everything spiritual is actually relishable. So the pot is no longer pot. It is prasadam. It is as relishable as the sweet rice itself or the condensed milk itself. So therefore, to teach us that once Krishna has touched, nothing material remains material. And therefore, actually speaking, if in an ashram some thing is cooked, some raw grains are cooked and prepared, turned into nice cooked edible, nice preparation is made and offered to Krishna. And let's say accidentally it gets burnt. And it is offered. Once it's offered to Krishna, Krishna has accepted it, then it is prasadam. So prasadam is always relishable, even if it is burnt. So, sometimes when Raghunath Das Goswami is scraping the bottom, some portion sticking to the pot might have even got burnt a little. Okay? So that also he was eating, relishing. That is again to teach us that prasadam should never be examined. Should never be examined whether it is nicely made, not nicely made. If it has been offered to Krishna, if it has been prepared by devotee, never examine. Simply take it. And in the beginning stages, obviously, we can only make out the material taste according to our tongue. So, something is burnt, we will taste it bitter. We cannot taste it as nectar, amrita. But what is it we are singing always? Annamrita. Whatever we are getting is amrita, nectarian. So in the same spirit, we have to accept it. Same spirit, we have to accept it. So, my point is that criticizing prasadam is offense. Because prasadam is not ordinary food which you can examine whether it is burnt or properly cooked or whether it is tasty or not tasty. That's why the sannyas dharma says, sannyasi, he should not be after satisfying his tongue. So for that, what sannyasis do is they carry one pot called kamandalu. Generally, that kamandalu is used as a water pot. But if they had to beg bhiksha, actually they empty the water and in that kamandalu only, they will accept that bhiksha, whatever is given. And whatever they give, simply put it in the pot, mix it nicely and eat. So in the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, it's a fact that their sannyasis, whatever is prepared and offered to the Lord, they prepare different items, rice, dal, sabji, whatever, sweet, some savory, some chutney, everything. They take little of everything, put it in the pot, nicely mix it, and eat it. Every day they do it. Why? To conquer the tongue, one thing. Secondly, to learn to relish that, because it is prasadam. Irrespective of what the taste is for the material tongue, it is absolute. Prasadam is absolute. So it is completely relishable. It's of a different quality, spiritual quality. Therefore, the training is that we should learn to relish prasadam irrespective of who has made it, who means whether experienced cook has done it or inexperienced cook has done it. Or sometimes it is perfectly nicely spiced, or sometimes the spice is a little less. So that we should actually overlook. And then if we learn to relish prasadam properly, actually we make very rapid advancement. Very rapid advancement. See? So, again, coming back to my basic point with which I started, bhakti is very easy. But that easy process has to be properly practiced. It is, even though not much austerity is there, let's say even in eating, but the real austerity of eating is not to criticize, not to accept only if it is agreeable to my taste buds, not to accept only if it is agreeable to my taste buds. So that practice is done by Prabhupada teaching us. You come to the prasadam hall, you sit down, and whatever has been prepared, offered to the Lord, and is being served, you simply take that and then get up and go. That's all. Of course, the leaders or the responsible authorities, in order to ensure that nicely it is cooked and offered to the Lord, they may check whether it's properly prepared, whether it's negligence in preparation has been there or not. It is carefully prepared, all that. That is okay. But everybody should not be checking how is the taste, how is it prepared, whether it is burnt, whether it is properly spiced. No. Except for one person, maybe one person, who's got the responsibility, who's got the duty, who's got the spiritual authority, only that person can check. And that also for the sake of trying to improve the offering to the Lord. In that spirit, we are trying to please Krishna. So we have to do the best. Whatever we can, we have to do the best. So in that spirit only checking, not otherwise criticizing, finding fault. No, it's not a fault finding. It's not a criticizing activity. It is actually trying to improve the quality of the offering, the offering itself. In that spirit only. Then it is not an offense. Then it's not criticizing. Otherwise, no comments, no criticism in terms of how is the taste, how is the thing. No. So therefore, you'll find many places in the Bhagavatam, there are examples that devotees are teaching us prasadam is transcendental. absolute, relishable, always, under all circumstances. Dhruva Maharaj was eating some roots, fruits, some berries, drinking only water. Now, such things, day after day, only water, for 1 month or something, he was taking only water. Now, that water also, unless he can relish, he cannot continue taking. Every day it's not possible. It'd be impossible. If somebody is not relishing what they're taking, they cannot do the same thing every day. So that is proof that he continued day after day for an entire month, only water, only water, only water. That means he was relishing water. Similarly, if we learn to relish prasadam, that itself is enough to perfect our spiritual life. Learn to relish prasadam. So the austerity is whatever the actual taste in terms of the material tongue tasting it, we should actually practice accepting it as the mercy of the Lord and look for what is called as the higher taste or the spiritual taste. Spiritual taste is entirely different from what material taste we normally are accustomed to seeing. Spiritual taste is different. Spiritual taste is not the same as material taste. So, like this, there are so many things. So, the point is, Bhakti Yoga is easy, the other yoga systems are difficult. This difference exists. Bhakti Yoga is the only one that can give us the real liberation or actual liberation. Other process cannot give you liberation. So, how is Bhakti Yoga the only process that can give us liberation is explained in detail in the purport. Next class we'll see that. I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.